somewhat in the 90s or the last century, Adele Hodgson, the marketing manager of Frankfurt International School at that time more or less the only real international school in Frankfurt that has changed tremendously, one day asked me, please come on a Sunday in a hotel, there is something going on, I want you to see that. So I went with her, and in the hotel there was like a conference hall. In the conference hall there were tables with some people offering services for newcomers. And so we looked at that. She thought it's interesting to have a look at this. When I left this room, I realized this place, what is happening here, that has to go to Roma. I was working for the mayor at the time, Peter Roth, you mentioned it, and that was really in a heartbeat, not in a David heartbeat, but in a heartbeat that on the side of the city it was decided we will do this in Roma. Then I had to speak to David Hart, who had really invented the whole thing, and it was his business. And I went to David Hart, the ever-friendly, easygoing, nice, open-minded Californian who made Frankfurt his home. And I said, hey David, can we have a talk? I would like to bring you a Newcomers Festival to Roma, to the City Hall. And I was wondering, what is this guy now going to say? And he said, yeah, of course, that's a great idea. And then it moved to the City Hall. A few years later, I left Frankfurt to go to Brussels, and then really David took over to manage Newcomers Festival, and this is the 20th time this time that Newcomers Festival under this name and really organized completely by David Hart is happening. And by the way, from the beginning it was a great success. We had the first time we did Newcomers Festival, we had more than 10,000 people. There were about 150 exhibitors. We had all floors in Roma, which now you managed to get again this year. Well, the place was brimming. If you really think about it, why do we meet every year? Why do we go every year to the Newcomers Festival? Why do we meet here? What is the background? What is the reason for that? I think there is another excellent example for what we are doing in the Newcomers Festival with cooperation and networking. And guess who this example is? It's the EU, European Union. It was created for the very reason to bring people together in Europe, and it was created on the principle of cooperation. Most people forgot that today. And this principle was called the community method. That was exactly to stop national governments from bickering with each other about national sovereignty rights when they talk about changing something. That is why the community method was created, and that was the reason why European Union was created. Before European Union, we had Council of Europe, we had Western European Union. All these things didn't really work out, so finally some smart people came and said we need to work in this community method. And what is the community method? I give you just an example. It started with the steel and coal community, and the European Commission brought together all the what we call stakeholders. In other words, the coal mines, the steel businesses, the workers, the trade unions, the business associations, the logistics companies, the customers, the engineers, the experts, everybody who was working in this field, to create one market. So there wouldn't be a Luxembourg regulation and a Belgian regulation and French and a German regulation on coal and steel, but there would be one regulation. And they knew if they would try to do this together with the governments, it would never happen. So they put together something called the High Authority with experts. They invited all the stakeholders, they discussed with them, and they asked them, what do we have to do? How can we do this to create one market? So those experts, they were talking a lot. In particular, they were listening to each other. That was very, very important. Everybody took everybody serious. And in the end, they had a proposal. They gave this to the national governments. All the stakeholders were convinced. They all said, this is how we want it. And this is how the European coal and steel community started working. And this was so successful that the community method more and more was used for other political matters. And this is how European Union really came about. So basically, community method is nothing but bring all actors of society together to work together. And doesn't that sound like Frankfurt, doesn't it? Now, why don't we organize this kind of dialogue in Frankfurt? Because in reality, an organized and structured dialogue for the urgent matters of European Union of today does not happen. National governments don't do it. They speak about it, but it does not happen. Whether we speak about modern technology, whether we speak about AI, 5G, refugees, energy policy, foreign and European and security policy, EU networks for railways, EU networks for energy, a true banking union. There is no real progress in the last couple of years. National governments have made themselves comfortable, and we need a new energy from somewhere coming. And I think this is possible, not to look at European matters from a German perspective, not to have a German discussion about Europe. That doesn't make sense. We have 27 different types of discussions in Europe. In each country, people speak in a different way about Europe. But by bringing people together from the different European countries to listen to each other, to learn from each other, and try to move forward with proposals on those matters that I just mentioned or any other matters. Our diverse population in Frankfurt that we have here, where Germans are now only in a minority, I'm sure that they will help us in understanding the different cultures, the different backgrounds of the other people in Europe that would come here, that will come here to talk with us and try to find solutions. And I think we are here at Paulskirche, a place that helped shaping modestly modern, open-minded and liberal Germany, something that is, I think, to the heart of all of us, the Germany of today. And this place really should help shaping a strong European Union, driven by civil society and united in diversity. Thank you.